Hey everybody, it's the Boss Lady here, coming to you with Talk About It Tuesday. I'm vlogging from my vehicle because I just dropped off Miss Peanuts. And I was actually going to start vlogging like maybe 10 minutes sooner, but then she had called me out of the truck, so I had to go and handle that business. So before I get started, I hope everyone has had a great holiday weekend. Mine was great. I got a lot of rest. And it was much needed and appreciated just because of, you know, the health stuff I got going on. But, yeah, we cooked, you know. It was raining. It's been raining. I mean, you can kind of tell, you know, it's cloudy now. It stormed last night, stormed Saturday night. So, anyway, y'all don't want the weather report, right? My subject for today, and today I'm kind of talking off the top of my head, but it's actually news related. And it's something that's dear to me just because I was born when this happened. And it's not a funny subject or whatever, but I was around. I was roughly 11 years old, I believe. 11 or 12. I think I was 12, matter of fact. I was 12. But it's in reference to, and this is a deep subject, it's in reference to child abduction. And, you know, just needing to be safe about our kids. I mean, I know you guys hear me talk a lot about Miss Peanut this, Miss Peanut that. I'm taking her here, taking her there. Well, I'm the type of mom, I don't just say, oh, go outside and play and see you before the streetlights come on. I don't do that. I'm all about being involved. You know, if I'm in the house, you're in the house. If I'm outside, you're outside. You know, that type of deal. Except for when she's sick, of course. You know, then I don't have her outside with me. But, you know, we live in the metropolitan area. So, you know, we're in the inner city. And so, you know, I just don't believe in just letting your child just roam free. You know, just riding bikes or up and down the street and all that stuff. Probably because I watch the news too much. I watch the news, I read the news constantly. You know, worldwide news, inner city, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm all about the news. And roughly when I was 12 years old, there was a young boy, and I believe he was, oh my gosh, how old was he? He must have been 11, 10 or 11, but he was, you can hear the rain coming down. He had to be 10 or 11. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put his age on the screen. But anyway, he lived in a rural area, you know, so upper Minnesota or whatever. Actually, not far from where my sister went to college. My sister went to college in St. Joseph, Minnesota. Very small town. And, she had only been in college 2 months. I'll never forget this. And this little boy, he went missing. And like I said, this was years ago. This was back in 1989, because that's when my sister graduated high school. And I'll never forget, because I was going up there to visit her at college. I thought that was like the coolest thing. You know, I got a big sister. She's in college. I get to go be on college campus. Yeah, okay. Well, 2 weeks roughly before we were to go up there, myself and one of my friends, this young man was abducted by a masked man and never to be seen, heard from again. Well, you know, and I mean, his mom, she is the ultimate mama bear. Let me tell you, that woman has not stopped in all these years looking for her son, wanting to know where is he, you know, everybody looked for him. Every time there was a tip, they acted on it. I mean, it was just amazing. And her strength. I mean, I pulled from her strength, and I wasn't even a mama yet. So, you know, he was with his, I want to say his brother and a friend or a couple friends, something like that. They were riding bikes. They had went to the video store or something. Y'all remember that? Video store, old school. Anyway, he had went to the video store or to the store or whatever, and then he was abducted, you know, by a masked man. They never found him until Saturday, this past Saturday. Almost 27 years later, his remains was found. sorry. His remains was found, and now his mom, heartbroken as she may be, she can now lay her son to rest. So I wanted to talk about that because, we don't talk about stuff like that. I notice even in, my everyday circles, people don't want to talk about abduction and whatever. They just talk about, shopping, or who's dating who, or who's on the internet blogs this week. You know what I mean? But people don't talk about abduction. And honestly, that's something that needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about, needs to be dealt with. Folks need to, be mindful of what they do with their kids, where they go, with, who they're around. I'm parking, sorry. But, honestly, we need to be more mindful when it comes to our children. And so I know a lot of people, think that, oh, you're so overprotective of Miss Peanut and, and back in the day, a baby girl. But, I followed that story. I was a kid and I followed that story. And so it touched my heart when I woke up Saturday and I got, the news notification telling me that, possibly his remains had been found. And then I followed it all Sunday, and then they did confirm that, yes, it was his remains. They do have the person, they think, in custody, because the person that they have in custody on some other kind of charges told them where his remains were. So hopefully he will be charged to the fullest extent of the law. But I just thought it was just so sad. It just made me think back to, that time, back to 1989. I'm never going to stop being the mama that I am. I need to know who you with, where you're going, who's going to be there, parents involved. I need to know all those things. And that's something that all parents should be doing. And I know that there are a lot of parents who don't do that. You're going over so-and-so's house? Okay, bye. See ya. I have a acquaintance now. Her son has a friend, and the friend's parents, they don't come to the door. They don't call. They just, oh, you're going over there? Drop off and keep it moving. And I'm just thinking, how can you do that? And maybe because they feel, oh, well, he's a boy, he can handle it. But I'm sorry. The young man who got abducted 27 years ago, he was a boy. His mama didn't think that, he was not going to ever come home. So, people need to be more mindful when it comes to their children. I know I'm mindful, and I know people think that I'm just overly protective. That's okay. As long as I know my child coming in that door, we're good, and I know one friend of mine, she says that, I'm too overprotective. That's all right, and I see the difference in our kids. I'll just say it like that. I see the difference. Just as well as I don't allow Miss Peanut to spend a night at people's houses. That's just not my thing. I did allow that with baby girl. It backfired on me. Came back to bite me. And I said, if I ever have another child, sorry, nope. If they want to come to my house, cool. But I'm not allowing my child to go nowhere. Especially when there's other siblings involved. I have an acquaintance who has a son and a daughter. Her son is a lot older. Her son is now high school. And her daughter is like almost a year younger than Miss Peanut. And there's no way I'm allowing my child to go over there by herself. Now granted, that could be me being paranoid. That could be me just having my antennas up too. I don't allow my child to be around older siblings like that. I mean, granted, she has an older sibling, 15 years older, but she's also a girl too. And even if it was a boy, I still, I know my kids. But I don't even allow Miss Peanut to go with her big sister and be just chilling with her big sister and without me. Why? Because, I don't know all of baby girl's friends, and I'm not going to have Miss Peanut around, certain people. That's just what it is, Sometimes people forget that there are children involved or children around, and they get loose at the mouth and loose at the lips. And, I don't need my child hearing this, that, those, and the fifth, period. So, my heart goes out to the Wetterling family. I pray for their comfort at this time. I'm going to continue to, do what I need to do as far as my child is concerned. And like I said, she had called me out of the car or SUV, whatever, when I was at the school. So I was out on the playground or whatever with the kids, but I don't have no problem with that. And of course, it's funny because I don't know. People can tell when you have a certain type of walk in your life. Because when I walked on that scene, those kids got right. I'm serious. Now, mind you, I have never fussed at anybody's child, but they just know how I carry myself, how I govern myself. They know, boss lady not the one to play with. That's Miss Peanut's mom. Let's be good. So, but I care for kids. I care for them deeply. I care to make sure they're safe and that they're doing things decent and in order. If there's anyone being harmed, I want to be the one to help them and make sure that they're okay. Because that's just the type of mama I am, Not only am I mama bear to Miss Peanut, but I'm mama bear to her class, her classmates, other children. Just recently, what day was that? Friday, Bossman, I think it was Friday. Yeah, Friday. Bossman had taken us, we had to run some errands. We went to Target and, as we were walking out the door, there was a little bitty girl and she wasn't that old. She was probably about 4, maybe 5. And how, I don't know, I guess it's a mama thing in me, but I'm walking past this little girl. Now, mind you, first I didn't notice her. So that's what freaked me out because I didn't notice her at first. But she was by the exit of the store with one of those little shopping carts that little kids can, push. And all of a sudden she was whimpering. I could hear her go, and I'm like, what in the world? And so instantly Mama Bear kicked in. And I said, hold up, stop. My husband had walked right on past. He done walked past her, walked to the door. He was halfway to the car. And I said, wait a minute, stop. And Miss Peanut turned around. And I said, are you okay? Where's your mommy, your daddy? And she was like, she was whining. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get you some help. And the staff that was on at the store, they were pretty much all young people, way younger than me. And they were like, huh? What's going on? And I said, you have a code yellow? And they looked. They was like, how you know our codes? Yeah, well, whatever. Get on the horn. Seriously. This little girl is missing her mom. And then she said, my daddy. And so I'm like, oh, she's here with her dad. And so, I'm just like, y'all need to do something. So I'm praying that everything worked out. I mean, I didn't hear anything in the news where we were or whatever, but I'm just thinking like, what in the heck? And see, and I'm a mandated reporter. So I'm mandated to report any type of abuse, whether it's for a child or seniors or whatever, any kids that are missing. I'm mandated to report that stuff. So it freaked me out. And I told Miss Penny, I said, that's why, when you're with mommy and daddy, we're like, you get right here next to this leg or next to this hip. I need to be able to see you. And I have a running joke with her. I need to see a ponytail. If I don't see a ponytail, you too far. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where the father was. And just as I was leaving, there was an older lady who came up. She was a senior citizen, and she was like, that little girl's missing her father, and she was in the back of the store, and blah, blah, blah. So then I figured, okay, she got it too. So, I did my due diligence, and I went about my business. But just like that, another kid could have been abducted. You know what I'm saying? Because that little girl was right by the door, and not the outer door, but because how... not sure if your targets are made this way, but we have 2 doors. We have, the outer door, and then we have the inner door. And she was right by the inner door to go out. And so, people just need to be mindful with their children, making sure they're safe and that they're cared for. We've witnessed, my husband and I recently, there's been a lot of fathers doing some very ignorant stuff. And, boss man's like, I know that wouldn't be me, because he don't like to hear my mouth. But I'm just like, what in the heck? And I mean, he was even fussing. He was like, man, that dude's gonna get, messed up when he get home or whatever, get back to the mom and stuff. You leaving that kid. I'm like, yeah, because if that had been us, I already know. He said, So, you know what I'm saying? But we have that communication like that. More parents need to get on one accord that way. It's just sad, and then be mindful of who you're dealing with. And I know I talk about this in another vlog or whatever, but this little boy who was killed, he was only 2 or 3 years old, and now they're charging his father with murder. Mind you, his father didn't do it, but he did retaliate with gunfire. And so because they don't know who the actual shooter was, guess what? Daddy's going up, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, oh, well, why would you have all that type of nonsense around your kids? So I don't get it. I just don't get it. And I'm not saying that I'm the perfect parent. No, because I make many mistakes. And as baby girl, she'll tell you, oh, yeah, mama made this mistake, that mistake, that mistake. She was the learning curve for me, But, and even with Miss Peanut, I'm not perfect by no means, but I do my best. And if I don't know, I pray about it and I seek guidance on it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I just want to talk about that today, about child abduction and just being mindful, taking care of your kids and who they're around, what they're doing, where they're going, and I know when kids get teenagers, you want to give them a little more leeway. But even as teenagers, I'm sorry, the one thing that I learned in parenting group, in parenting class, is that kids, when they're 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, the way they act then is the way they act as a teenager. So you still have to be a parent. You still have to be mindful. You can give them leeway, but still you have to guide them. And so that is my charge to all parents out there. Make sure you're guiding your children and guide them in the appropriate and proper fashion. Make sure you know who they're around. Make sure you know what's going on in those other houses and with those other kids and things like that. And that's one thing I can say about Miss Peanut, and that might be the reason why she's having kind of a difficulty with friendships right now, because, we can kind of see the writing on the wall. And I'm sorry, anybody who darkens the doorstep here, you're not bringing that foolishness in my house, and my child is not coming over there with all that foolishness. So that's just how it is. That's just how we're raising her. But be mindful of who your kids are around. Be a part of your children's lives. Talk to them, talk to them one-on-one. Don't just talk to them as a group. Talk to them one-on-one. Have that special time with them. And, make sure they're aware of strangers and even, friends who are strangers, if you know what I'm saying. Because I know there's a lot of abductions that are happening that the parents rarely know the people. Which is so sad. So sad. There's so many stories in the news, and it's just like, my goodness. Be mindful who you allow in your house and who you allow around your kids. So that is my charge to my viewers today. You guys have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.